Thank you very much. I'm a member of Exposed, and I'm also a member of St. Paul Area Church. One of the things that Reverend Harris shares with us is something out of the Sons of God's Creed. He usually directs that to men, but I'm going to try to apply that to everyone in the room today. And that is that we are made of God's image, and we've been called to make a difference in our home, our community, and our church. Now think about that. That's us. That's you in this room. That's me. We have been called to make a difference in our home, our community, and our church. And I'm very excited about that information today because you have an opportunity to hear about a program that's going to do just that. Let me introduce you to the individual that's going to bring this information. He's not from around here. By that I mean the tri-state area. He was born in Augusta, Georgia. He got his college degree at Scaffolding College in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And he feels that it is his God-sent mission that he's here today and able to share with you gifts from God through this program. This is a very excitable person. He's very energetic. So hold on when he gets to talking to you. If you will, if you stand up, I appreciate it if you'll join me in applause as we present to you Clarence T. Brown.
Thank you. An old man going a long highway came in the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm vast and wide and steep, with waters rolling cold and deep. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen streams had no fears for him, but he stopped when safe on the other side and built the bridge to span the tide. That poem means a lot to me because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to bring in a bunch of concepts that I've been exposed to later on in life, but what I want to do is give the youth of the community a head start on these concepts. We want to put it all together so that they will be able to apply them once they get out of high school, once they go into college, and they'll be able to do a lot better in the job arena than a lot of us have done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the way I came up with this program, and in hopes that you will realize how much it means to me and how I am so positive that it will be a successful program. There are three things that went into me coming up with the first concept, and that's the sales approach. Now, the sales approach, how many of you are familiar with Avon or Amway? Okay, this sales approach is the same sales approach that the people at Avon and Amway use, but the only thing is we're not going to sell the product. What we're going to do is encourage the youth to sell themselves. We're going to encourage them to market themselves to the different people in the community so that they will be able to get gainful employment and other things when they're prepared. Okay, this approach teaches you three things. What you need to do is surround yourself with the right people. Now I realize that everybody in this room has their own set of friends, their own groups that they go out with, but what you need to do is surround yourself with positive people, people that think positive, people that do positive things, and that's what this program is all about. This program is all about creating an atmosphere for the youth where they'll surround themselves with positive people. The second thing you need to do is think the right thoughts. And through this exposure, what you would do is fill your mind up with so many positive thoughts that the thoughts that come out will always be the right thoughts. The third product that they come up with is reading the right materials. So what we're going to do at this program is we're going to bring in a bunch of self-help books, a bunch of positive thinking materials, and we're going to expose the kids to these materials. And through these three concepts, I am so sure that we will come up with the same results that some of these other sales organizations out here come up with today.
Program. I have seen a need for it. I was blessed when I was a young person to have people who came into my life who exposed me to things and really showed me how far my horizons could expand. And the unfortunate thing I see, especially with African American youth, is that many of them never get beyond their own neighborhoods. And the world that they are exposed to is very limited, it's warped, it's very negative. So they have no idea of what is available to them and what they can become. I think this program is a godsend. I think that when young people go out into the world, and especially when they go out to the workforce, they will deal with a variety of people from various backgrounds, various cultures, and they have to be able to relate to those people and talk to them. And even if they don't like everything that you're going to expose them to in this program, at least they will know when they come into people who are into that, what they're talking about. And I think this program is a godsend.
All other products of human work and thought, especially as expressed in a particular community or area. And when I saw that, it's like behavior patterns, how you act. I mean, if you got a gang in your neighborhood, then that's a part of your culture, okay? You talking about art, you talking about rap music, you talking about dancing, you talking about going to the club. I mean, all types of arts that you do, whether you draw or not, it don't have to be a fine art. That's your culture. You talk about beliefs, what you're taught, your morals, all your upbringings, those are parts of your culture. And if you take all these things, your institutions and everything else, when you take the institutions, those are your cultures. You got your libraries, you got your banks, all these are part of your culture. And you put them all in one bag and you shake them up. And what you do is, if I come in contact with a situation, I need something out of my culture bag, I pull it out of my culture bag and I use it. Well, what Expose is all about is filling up this bag, throwing everything in the bag. So then anything that I come in contact with, I can use it. I'll be more diversified than the next man because I was exposed to all of these things at an earlier age. And I mean, that's what Expose is all about. That kind of held me back. And that's still holding me back. Because, I mean, when you start thinking about politicking on the job, people think a politicking on the job is being wrong. But that's their culture. That's the way they deal on the job. And you think, well, I'm not going to kiss up to her. I'm not going to kiss up to him. Well, it's not about kissing up to anybody. It's about if that's the way they're going to do business, you're on the job, then you need to do business the way you want to do business there. And once you go home, you can drop all that at the job. And you can do what you want to do at your own house. So, and that's why, I am ready for this program. I am. Good or bad happens for a reason. And, I feel this is a good reason because we're getting good feedback and we know we need to correct or, everything else. So.
We're talking about an accounting.
Okay, now this is what my plan is, okay? My plan is to take this on the road. I plan on making this a worldwide thing. Now, what I did was, because I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew, what I did was, my initial plan was to start here at this church and use the kids out of this church. Well, then we started saying, well, we got more people we need to touch. So then we kind of put it on the radio. We had it on WTSJ, and we had something on the Wiz. So, anybody that wanted to come could come. It was just that this church here was willing to facilitate us at this time. But if somebody wants to come from Indianapolis over here, I'll be halfway and pick them up. Because I just want I want everybody to take an active part in this. I want everybody to gain something from this. And it's the other thing was because I was talking to her and she was saying about what if you're not, financially challenged or economically challenged. This program is not a program that's designed to help people that are poor or designed to help people that are dumb or designed to help people that have they don't have to have any kind of setbacks whatsoever. Because what that does is I was talking about that atmosphere that we're trying to create. If you come in and you're already financially sure of yourself, that doesn't mean that you know how to use the money you have. But then, through association, everybody else can come up to the same level. We're about lifting as we climb, okay? And I think it takes people that are strong in some areas and weaken others to come together and form a link. So I'm not excluding anybody in the city of Cincinnati, okay? And what I mean by that, we have our trade name registered with the state of Ohio. We already have our incorporation papers, and we're in the process now of filing our a 1023 so we can have our nonprofit status. And the reason we went through all of these steps is because we want this to be an organization that is free of charge. I remember when I was younger, the YMCA, you could join the YMCA for $5 and you can go year-round for $5 at the YMCA. Well, it's not like that anymore. You can go to your community centers, but you really don't have any structure at your community centers. You can go to your boys' club, your girls' club, and there's a little structure there, but there's not much, and they even charge you. And what my thing is, I want to get out into the community, and I want people to come, and when you give them a choice, if you say, okay, I got something good for you, and I'm going to charge you, or you got something you can go do what you want to, and you're going to get charged, you can go do what you want to. But I think if I can take this to the community and say, okay, this is free of charge, you don't have to pay for it, all you have to do is come, we're going to take you on outings, we're going to take you on trips, you don't have to worry about paying for it or anything, then that will make it more appealing to the community. So we are getting it set up as a nonprofit. We're going to be soliciting funds from some of the larger corporations in the community, trying to get them involved. We also plan on setting this up where we can have partnerships with jobs in the community so that the youth, if we can kind of predict the behavior of the youth, then these companies wouldn't mind hiring them. So we can set up co-ops and everything else. I feel like this is going to be a big thing. People will, people will be exposed to the community will be exposed to these people, jobs will be exposed, all types of things. But all it takes is the youth to come in, the youth to get to know about the program, and I'm sure they'll love it. It's 17, but two things happen. The first thing, a lot of people feel the age of 12 is the age of accountability, but we wanted 14 initially because we felt like the people at 14 they can relate to people 17 easier than people at 12 can relate to people 17 years old. So what we might end up doing is having it like in two separate sessions. Everybody going through the same thing, but at least that we can be on the level so that they'll understand. But we do have some mature 12-year-olds around here, so it wouldn't be a problem to facilitate them all together or put them all together in the same group. But we do plan on, and like we have objectives. On our objectives, they will successfully obtain gainful employment in a job that fits his or her personality, or they will have a detailed plan of what is wanted out of life and a plan of action for obtaining it. 14-year-olds may not be able to obtain a job, so what we want to do is we want them to get a head start on thinking about what they want to do out of life. One of the most, the hardest thing to do is say, well, right now I want to be a doctor or I want to be a lawyer, but you really don't realize how much work you have to put in to be a doctor or a lawyer. I heard somebody ask a question one day. They asked, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And whatever the answer is, say, well, how much money would you like to make? And how much money they like to make wouldn't match what they want to do for a living. And see, they don't really think about those type of things. So I feel like that's one good thing that we can offer to the kids that are 12 through 15 years old. We can get them on a realistic path to where they want to be in life, because it's hard, because a lot of us, we get to high school and we graduate from high school and we be like, now what? We go to college, we really don't know what we want to do when we get to college, but we want to go to college because everybody say going to college is good. And I know that was me. I got to college, I said, okay, I want to do business because, business is what everybody was doing. I started in management. I didn't want management because it was too easy, so I went into marketing. Graduated from college and went into management. So, if I would have had a program like this when I was younger, then I wouldn't be where I am, as far as my job is concerned. So, and the other thing that's so important is that we don't want them to think that we have to work for somebody. We want them to be able to say, well, no, I decided I don't want to work for nobody. I want somebody to work for me. So I feel like if you're 12 years old and you got that attitude, then by the time you get to the point where you are able to do something in the world, then you will have somebody working for you because you have that head start on everybody else that went to college. Because for me, when I got to college, that's what they talk when I got to college. They say, you ought to be an entrepreneur. Why do you want to work for anybody? But if you think about me, a 12 and 13-year-old kid walking around here saying, I'm going to be the boss. That would be something. That would be a powerful statement. Bose is put together as initially as a 6-month program, and it's going to be like a training academy that all the kids will go through. And once they get out of this training academy, then they will form this core group. And once one academy is finished, then the next group will go in, and they'll all go through this. Even if they haven't went through it, they can still become a part of the group. But we just encourage kids to go through this academy because what it does is built around setting a mold, and it's broken down into 4 phases. And in these 4 phases, which I'm going to describe for you, they're built so that they will overlap each other. So what you learn in one phase, you can take to the next phase, and what you learn in that phase, you can take to the next phase, and then so on. So right now I'm going to read for you the syllabus that I have for Expose. This program is designed to expose you to a multiplicity of cultures, as well as motivate and educate them on the benefits of economical, social, and educational empowerment. Through this exposure, they are expected to be able to play an active role in each culture. By the completion of this program, each individual will, and that goes back to this list right here, have a deeper understanding of life as a whole, have a greater respect for every culture that makes up our society, interact appropriately with any group or culture that they may come in contact with, successfully obtain gainful employment in a job that fits his or her personality, and/or have a detailed plan of action on what is wanted out of life, and put together a plan for obtaining this. Expose will be conducted in 4 phases. At the end of each phase, there will be a means to determine the progress of the group. It is the responsibility of the entire group to complete these phases because we wanted to encourage teamwork. The first meeting of phase 1 will be an introduction to Expose. At this time, the program will be broken down for the participants and the rules will be explained. This meeting will also include the introduction of all persons who will be directly involved with the program. The remainder of phase 1 will consist of interactive motivational speeches and projects dealing with getting to know yourself. Phase 1 will be completed by every member of the group giving their expectations of the group. Phase 2 consists of getting to know your current environment or the current community that we're dealing with. And I say this because we may not be in this specific environment that you're from, but we want you to learn wherever you are. The other thing about Exposed, that when you come in, we ask that you leave your culture or leave your cultural biases at home, because the hardest thing to open is a closed mind. So what we want you to do is come in and be prepared to learn, be prepared to be exposed to everything, and not think about how you felt to it prior to you coming in. During this phase, we will spend a great deal of time canvassing the neighborhood and developing plans of action for the betterment of the community. We don't want too much emphasis to be placed on the good things or the bad things in the community, but we are going to dwell on the fact that it takes a multiplicity of cultures to make up society. Phase 2 will be completed by the group designing a program for the community. This group will be based on the plan of action developed throughout the phase. The residents will then be invited in to participate. And what this means is that we're going to ask the kids to develop maybe say for instance, every Saturday morning they want to go out and walk and clean up the neighborhood, sort of like a adopt a highway program. So if they put together a program like that, then we want them to go to the community and say, okay, we as a group are going to come out and we're going to start cleaning up every Saturday morning, and we'd like y'all to come out with us and participate. And therefore we feel like that then again, the exposure, that will get the community exposed to the kids, and the kids exposed to the community. And any kids that are not a part of the group, they'll make them want to come in and be a part, because they'll see that everything is getting along, everybody's getting along well. Phase 3 is the longest and most intense stage. It is developed around the concept of exposing all group members to different cultures that comprise our society. Phase 3 will be composed of visiting different parts of our city and interacting with the people we come in contact with. During each session, it is the responsibility of the group members to document the specifics of the outing. Each individual will be expected to keep a log. During this phase, we will visit banks, libraries, museums, and governmental institutions. Examples of activities we plan to attend are the ballet, the opera, the symphony, and sporting events. The youth will participate in sports such as golf, tennis, racquetball, and basketball. We look forward to hosting seminars by securities firms, banks, and the Urban League. These activities represent components found in the various cultures of our society. Phase 3 will be completed by each youth determining with the aid of their log how the attributes of the other cultures will affect their own. Next, they are to present this newly expanded culture to the group. Along with this presentation, a detailed plan of action is required on how to include these attributes into all their future experiences. Phase 4 will deal with job etiquette. In this phase of the program, we will deal with the acceptable behavior of a job applicant. And this is something I think we all need applicant. This section will range from the search of the classified ads to the preparation of attitude, from the filling out of the application to proper dressing and grooming. We will also arrange mock interviews with professional volunteers from the community. This will be used to obtain a realistic atmosphere of a job search. Phase 4 will end with 3 separate objectives. For the youth ages 16 to 17, they will be expected to prepare for and attend an actual interview. This job will be one to fit their personality as well as the plan of action that was created in Phase 3. For the youth ages 14 and 15, they will be expected to research the career path in which they wish to follow and give a detailed account of how they will begin and pursue this path. For the youth ages 12 and 13, they will participate in a shadowing exercise and be expected to write and present an essay on their experience.
To help support them, that this may only happen once, it may happen twice, and help them deal with it?
Well, that's why we're going to deal with this whole situation, and as far as we're going to have a group setting, and then we're going to go out into the community. Have a group setting, and then we're going to go out into the community. And what we hope to do is, if they do have this bad experience, that we can help counsel with them and help them understand that this is how people will act in some places. Some people just strictly want to rattle the cage when you do things like that.
Okay, but that would be, in other words, there would be a reassurance that there wasn't anything wrong with the kid. It may just be the situation.
Exactly.
So they'll reinforce them?
Exactly. Yeah. What she wants to know is, unless you want to tell her.
Now, if you can speak...
As you know, I'm a 20-year-old college student, and I go to school up in Miami and Oxford, and I would still like to help, and I just want to know how I could help and still attend school up in Oxford.
Because at this present time, one of our members, Mr. West, is going through the same thing, and what he has decided may be beneficial is that if at your school, if you could possibly set up some sort of visit for the kids to come to, what we can do is bring the kids up to the school and they can see how it is at your school. I mean, because another part of this could be finding out whether they can get scholarships at your school or not, or doing research on how they can get grants, or doing research on how they can get money to go to school there. So that would be a very important part of the program. It would be if because see, we're all about exposing the kids to your college and everything else would be a great help. At school or where. Well, in actuality, what is all about? Like I said, I mean, I have had people that have come to me and are actually interested in this program and interested in me bringing the program to them and just implementing it with what they have. But like I said, I felt that it would be, in all fairness, I would start it here first because they were willing to facilitate me. But I really want this to be a widespread thing, and that's why I set it up. That's another reason why I set it up as a corporation, because therefore we can have as many different segments as there are people that are willing to be a part of it. Everybody needs knowledge. Knowledge is not something that you can meter. Knowledge is not something that you can sell. I mean, as a matter of fact, if you don't give it away, you can't keep it. This is just our business attire for the day. We do have a logo that we're having printed up at the shop. And what we plan on doing, we did have one of the gentlemen that we're beginning to expose to create this for us. But what we're doing is we're gonna after the completion of this program the 4-phase program that we talked about, we're gonna give the kids some sort of paraphernalia, be it if they want hats, be it they want jackets, sweatshirts, whatever paraphernalia they choose, we're gonna give it to them with this logo on it. Front with me, and Miss Consuelo Brown to come up front with me. Jamani Middleton is a 16-year-old youth that we got, and we sort of tested the program out on the line. We prompted his brain, we kind of pushed him. He's the one that came with the logo. We made him draw it over and over and over again, so that we can get it just right and let him know that work world is not easy. It takes doing things over and over again. We took him out on the golf course, and he fell in love with it. He wanted to go play golf today. I told him we couldn't go. We bought him some golf clubs, and he just loved it. And I realized that was a hard thing for him to do because I know that he came from a community that does not believe in things of that nature. So if it worked on him, it can work on you.
Earlier, Jamani here, he's the one that actually drew the exposed logo, and we want him to explain what that means to him. Go ahead.
I drew the apple in the middle that it signifies learning and education. So that's why I put the apple in the middle. I bet y'all can see the apple. And that's about thank you.
Okay. Again, I hope you all enjoyed the information that was shared for you today, shared with you, I should say. We have some sign-up sheets that we'd like for you to fill out your name, and if you have some children that you'd like to be a part of this program, if you could put their name on there as well, that would be great. We may have a few other announcements that we'd like to share with you, and this time I'd like Consuelo to come up and do that. Thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. What I was just going to say is, with these sign-up sheets, we did have them for the kids. But if you have any volunteers, if you know someone that would like to work with the program, someone that we can contact, anything that would help facilitate the expose, then please give us the information and we can contact them. And also, if we can be of any help to you or any service that we can provide in a neighborhood or an area that you think that we can work in, let us know and so we can facilitate that for you also. Thank you. We have brochures here with exposed on it. It just gives a little more information about the program, and on the back it has the information of how we can be reached. This is Mr. Clarence's Brown number. We also have a couple of business cards that you can take if you would like them. Then that would be another way that you can get in touch with us if you need to. Also, anytime feel free to come to St. Paul, we're here. If you have any more questions, you can get in contact with us here.
Program to us. What is the next step? What's the first step you plan to take in order to implement the program?
The only thing we need to implement the program is kids. Once the kids come, we're ready. We already have our first session set up and ready, and following that, we have a plan of action to go ahead and facilitate the program. We're not going to start the 6-month part of the program as of yet. We're going to just get everybody in, get everybody familiar with what's going on, get everybody familiar with the concepts, get everybody comfortable with what's going on, get the parents comfortable, get the community comfortable, and then we're going to start the program. Because once we start the program, after the first phase is over, no one will be able to come into that 6-month training program, so they will have to wait till the next program. So if we get everybody in and everybody comfortable and everybody set to go at the same time, then it'll be better for the program. On Saturday, August 17th, we'll be kicking off our program of Expose at 5 p.m. St. Paul AME Church at the corner of William Howard Taft and Kemper Lane. I'd like all you ages 12 to 17 to come on out and join us as we have a great time. You can contact myself, Clarence T. Brown. The number is 245-102, or you can contact Mr. David West at 742-9223. Thank you.